The testament of Issachar concerning simplicity. The record of the words of Issachar. He called his sons and said to them, "Hearken, my children, to Issachar your father. Give ear to my words, you who are beloved of the Lord. I was the fifth son born to Jacob, even the higher of the mandrakes. For Reuben brought in mandrakes from the field, and Rachel met him and took them. And Reuben wept, and at his voice Leah my mother came forth. Now these mandrakes were sweet-smelling apples, which the land of Aram produced on high ground, below a ravine of water. And Rachel said, I will not give them to you, for they shall be to me instead of children. Now there were 2 apples, and Leah said, Let it suffice you that you have taken the husband of my virginity. Will you also take these? And she said, Behold, let Jacob be to you this night instead of the mandrakes of your son. And Leah said to her, Boast not, and vaunt not yourself, for Jacob is mine, and I am the wife of his youth. But Rachel said, How so? For to me was he first espoused, and for my sake he served our father 14 years. What shall I do to you? Because the craft and the subtlety of men are increased, and craft prospers upon the earth. And were it not so, you would not now see the face of Jacob, for you are not his wife, but in craft were taken to him in my stead. And my father deceived me, and removed me on that night, and suffered me not to see him. For had I been there, it had not happened thus. And Rachel said, Take 1 mandrake, and for the other you shall hire him from me for 1 night. And Jacob knew Leah, and she conceived and bare me, and on account of the hire I was called Issachar. Then appeared to Jacob an angel of the Lord, saying, 2 children shall Rachel bear, for she has refused company with her husband, and has chosen continency. And had not Leah my mother given up the 2 apples for the sake of his company, she would have borne 8 sons, and for this thing she bare 6, and Rachel 2. Because on account of the mandrakes the Lord visited her. For he knew that for the sake of children she wished to company with Jacob, and not for lust of pleasure. For she went further, and on the morrow too gave up Jacob, that she might receive also the other mandrake. Therefore the Lord hearkened to Rachel because of the mandrakes. For though she desired them, she ate them not, but brought them to the priest of the Most High, who was at that time, and offered them up in the house of the Lord. When therefore I grew up, my children, I walked in uprightness of heart, and I became a husbandman for my parents and my brethren, and I brought in fruits from the field according to their season. And my father blessed me, for he saw that I walked in simplicity. And I was not a busybody in my doings, nor malicious and slanderous against my neighbor. I never spoke against anyone, nor did I censure the life of any man, but walked in the simplicity of my eyes. Therefore, when I was 30 years old, I took to myself a wife, for my labor wore away my strength, and I never thought upon pleasure with women, but through my labor my sleep sufficed me, and my father always rejoiced in my simplicity. For on whatever I labored I offered first to the Lord by the hands of the priests, of all my produce and all first fruits, then to my father, and then took for myself. And the Lord increased 2-fold his benefits in my hands. And Jacob also knew that God aided my simplicity, for on every poor man and everyone in distress I bestowed the good things of the earth in simplicity of heart. And now hearken to me, my children, and walk in simplicity of heart, for I have seen in it all that is well-pleasing to the Lord. The simple covets not gold, defrauds not his neighbor, longs not after manifold dainties, delights not in varied apparel, does not picture to himself to live a long life, but only waits for the will of God, and the spirits of error have no power against him. For he cannot allow within his mind a thought of female beauty, that he should not pollute his mind in corruption. No envy can enter into his thoughts, no jealousy melts away his soul, nor does he brood over gain with insatiate desire. For he walks in uprightness of life, and beholds all things in simplicity, not admitting in his eyes malice from the error of the world, lest he should see the perversion of any of the commandments of the Lord. Keep therefore the law of God, my children, and get simplicity, and walk in guilelessness, not prying over curiously into the commands of God and the business of your neighbor, but love the Lord and your neighbor, have compassion on the poor and weak. Bow down your back unto husbandry, and labor in tillage of the ground in all manner of husbandry, offering gifts unto the Lord with thanksgiving. For with the first fruits of the earth did the Lord bless me, even as he blessed all the saints from Abel even until now. For no other portion is given to you than of the fatness of the earth, whose fruits are raised by toil. For our father Jacob blessed me with blessings of the earth and of first fruits. And Levi and Judah were glorified by the Lord among the sons of Jacob, for the Lord made choice of them, and to the one he gave the priesthood, to the other the kingdom. Them therefore obey, and walk in the simplicity of your father. For unto Gad has it been given to destroy the temptations that are coming upon Israel. I know, my children, that in the last times your sons will forsake simplicity, and will cleave unto avarice, and leaving guilelessness will draw near to malice, and forsaking the commandments of the Lord will cleave unto Beliar, and leaving husbandry will follow after their wicked devices, and shall be dispersed among the Gentiles, and shall serve their enemies. And do you therefore command these things to your children, that if they sin, they may the more quickly return to the Lord, for he is merciful, and will deliver them even to bring them back into their land. I am 122 years old, and I know not against myself a sin unto death. Except my wife, I have not known any woman. I never committed fornication in the haughtiness of my eyes. I drank not wine, to be led astray thereby. I coveted not any desirable thing that was my neighbor's. Guile never entered in my heart. A lie never passed through my lips. If any man grieved, I wept with him, and I shared my bread with the poor. I never ate alone. I moved no landmark. In all my days I wrought godliness and truth. I loved the Lord with all my strength. Likewise also did I love every man, even as my own children. So do these things also, my children, and every spirit of Beliar shall flee from you, and no deed of malicious men shall rule over you. And every wild beast shall you subdue, having with yourselves the God of heaven, walking with men in simplicity of heart. And he commanded them that they should carry him up to Hebron, and bury him there in the cave with his fathers. And he stretched out his feet and died, the fifth son of Jacob, in a good old age. And with every limb sound, and with strength unabated, he slept the eternal sleep.